Anna Eshu's district in California, largest average tax cut in a California Democrats district. Come on in, Paul Winfree, former deputy assistant to President Trump. Now, political analyst Larry Sabato, he says the Democrats will win the House, even though it was the GOP, the Republicans, who gave out those huge tax cuts. So what say you about the Dems taking control of the House this year?
Well, I don't want to get into the politics, but I will say that if we look at the benefits of the tax cut, that they are widely dispersed. I mean, we've seen both low, middle, and high-income folks get tax cuts in every congressional district. The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act is creating jobs, leading to higher take-home pay, leading to lower taxes, leading to more investment, more charitable giving. Really all good things across the board.
Wait a minute. You don't want to talk politics. Weren't you an assistant to President Trump?
I was an assistant to President Trump, but working here at the Heritage Foundation, I have to say that that the policy really speaks for the politics, and I hope will ultimately carry the day. If Democrats perceive that they can end up winning on a message of repealing the tax cuts, ultimately I don't think that that's really a winning argument. As time goes on and as the economy keeps growing and as more of those benefits go into people's pocketbooks, ultimately I think the tax cuts are here to stay.
Well, do you think that, look, I've always been taught from way back when that when it comes to pulling the voting lever, you vote your pocketbook, that the economy, the economy's performance is the gut issue which always comes out on top, unless it's a time of war or chronic national crisis. So on that basis, I would have thought that the Republicans are looking pretty strong, because we really do have a strong economy, and the president says it's going to get even better than it is now. What do you make of that statement, that the economy is going to get better than what it is now?
I think that's exactly right. I mean, what we've seen over the last year and a half is not just a tax bill, but deregulation. The GDP numbers that came out this morning, 4.1% GDP growth in the last quarter. That's an extremely strong number, one of the strongest numbers that we've seen in the last few years. I think it will continue getting better over the next few months, especially again as we see the effects of the tax cut bill come through, and then also the effects of the continued deregulation that we've seen from this administration.
Would you characterize President Trump as a free market kind of guy? Because I always think of Heritage as a free market organization. You think President Trump's in line with free markets?
I think that the economic policy that we've seen from the president is in line generally with free market economics, definitely supply-side economics. I don't think that you can argue with that. I mean, what the president is doing on the regulatory front obviously suggests that the president trusts people. He knows that wealth is created by the private sector. It's not created by government. And ultimately, the economy is showing signs from all of the good policies that he's putting forward. Everybody can ultimately quibble on this or that. And here at the Heritage Foundation, one of the things that we would quibble with the president on is potentially his trade policy. We would like to see a more free trade than less. Well, but at the end of the day, what he's doing on taxes and regulation are great.
Got it. Paul Winfree, thanks very much for joining us. Next time, young man, we're going to talk politics seriously, and that's a promise.
Thank you, Paul. Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay.